All right, welcome back, everyone. Kier here. And a lot of people have been coming up to me this week saying, Justin, when are we finally going to break this pattern? It's been hot, it's been muggy. When are we going to see some changes? Well, they are on the way. The only problem is they may not be changes that people want to see just yet. But before we get there, let's tell the story and start with the present before we go to the future. You can see some of the temperatures outside right now, still very warm, and you factor in some muggy conditions as well. And quite frankly, some locations might be a little bit unbearable considering the time of night. You can see over in Leesville, we're currently at 75 degrees after a high of 87, but it looks like the winner on the board today, Pelion, with a high of 93 degrees, currently at 77. And then as we take a look at some of our sites, courtesy of WeatherBug, you can see that we've got some beautiful shots in places like Newberry County. Still very warm out there. Current temperature of 74 degrees after a high of 86. And as we continue to move through the locations, you can see Orangeburg County after a high of 90 degrees. Wow, another scorcher there, currently at 75. And then finally, we're going to end things in downtown Columbia. Beautiful shots of the dome there of the State House. And you can see currently 80 degrees as many of our friends are about town, including our very own Garrett Biedenbaugh. But the big question remains, when are some changes headed our way? Well, you can see that the stage is being set by Mother Nature here. Very warm conditions across the Midlands of South Carolina, as well as essentially parts of eastern North Carolina down into South Carolina, Georgia. But behind that, you see these green conditions, that's cooler temperatures, and that's being caused in part by some rain showers moving in. And as those rain showers continue to push towards the Midlands of South Carolina, you can see some weakening there. We've got a frontal system headed our way, which is going to be pushing in a little bit of additional moisture. So even though we might see some temperature decreases, it's still going to feel a little bit on the muggy side. Now, while things were still warm and muggy here, we did have activity across the United States that was a little bit of a different variety. Some thunderstorm activity in places like Arklatex. We're talking about Arkansas, Texas, and Louisiana. Also all the way up to places like up to Kentucky and Tennessee today. And you can see some of the thunderstorm activity essentially moving for the most part in an easterly direction, bringing with it a couple of showers for the upstate. We did have a couple of reports of some tree limbs down in places like Union County, headed towards the Rock Hill area in York County. Now, what does the future hold in store? That's what everybody wants to know. We've got a big holiday weekend here with Mother's Day. Now, before we get to Mother's Day, I don't know if you have any celebrations perhaps early tomorrow, pre-Sunday. We do have some clouds that are going to be continuing to filter in. With that, we might see a couple of maybe sprinkles with a couple of isolated thunder showers here and there across the state of South Carolina. But don't cancel any plans just yet. But keep in mind that by Sunday, we could be having a better chance for some thunderstorm activity, although I wouldn't cancel any outdoor plans just yet. Tonight's forecast, overnight lows dropping into the mid-60s. That'll be a slightly nicer cool-off comparison to what we're seeing right now. Highs tomorrow near 85 degrees. Still clouds rolling in. And again, we could see a couple of isolated showers as we head in, especially towards Sunday. Then rain showers pick up. That might provide a little bit of relief from some of the pollen activity we've seen. And then once again, high pressure takes over as we transition later into the week as temperatures cool off thanks to a frontal boundary that passes through. And of course, so we've got much more to come, including sports, after the break.